Yeah. Hello all. Welcome back to Uncommon Geeks. Myself Vasanth, as most of you know, and I'm interviewing Nikita on the basic front-end technologies. So she's just a fresher. She hasn't started her career yet. So I'll be interviewing a lot of web related aspects from this particular interview. First of all, Nikita, thank you so much for joining the interview.
Thank you so much.
So Nikita, let us start by your introduction. Please introduce yourself. Then let us start with the questionnaires. Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Nikita Kumari. I'm from Bihar. I'm currently in Bangalore. I'm doing training as a front-end developer.
Got it.
Now I have a good knowledge in HTML, CSS, and
Wonderful.
JavaScript.
Wonderful. So you're 2022 pass out and currently doing course. Am I right, Nikita?
Yes, yes.
Got it. So Nikita, now first before we start with the interview, I'll ask you one question. Why you decided to pick web development as a course or your career? There is particular reason for that.
Yeah. In college time, I just work in front of computer and just like the coding. That's why I choose as a front-end developer.
Good, good. No, coding part is fine because there's mainly two broad categories, right? Front end and the back end. So you liked building the user
Yes,
interface. That is the reason you picked front end.
yes.
Sure. So Nikita, let us start with the extreme basics. Okay. I'll ask you very basic questions of the web. Then we'll gradually move into some in-depth questions. Okay. So the first
Okay.
question, Nikita, is so let's say you are having a browser, correct? So where, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
in the very plain HTML and JavaScript, let's say your basic vanilla JavaScript application, you will be including .css file, .javascript file, correct, as the resources from the
Yes,
where you'll be fetching it. So whenever you open a website, correct, it's a combination of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, etc. Correct. So
yes.
can you tell me the order in which the client will download this content from the web? Will HTML come first, JavaScript come second, CSS comes at the end, or all of them come together? Do you know how it works? You got my question right, Nikita?
See, can you come again?
Yeah. So I'll just quickly summarize. So web page is a combination of multiple things: JavaScript file,
Yes,
HTML file, CSS file. There'll be images, the fonts, etc. Correct. So whenever
Mm-hmm.
you hit a website like google.com or something, facebook.com, so which all content will be loaded first? Like, will the HTML comes first from the server, or the JavaScript comes first from the server? Which, because basically you are a client, correct, and there is a server where actual
Yes, yes.
content is there. Which will come first, or which will come next?
Every at a time, everything is come.
Got it. So now, for example, you're opening a facebook.com. Okay, you haven't logged in, so there'll be
Yeah.
something like the image of Facebook, the input text box, and all of that. Correct. So which involves basically JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, all of that. So you're telling client makes a request and all the data comes at once. Correct.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
It's not like that. Okay. There is a little bit of a way how the data comes from the server. It's not like all the content comes at once. Okay. Read little more on that. This is an advice for you also and also to the audience how the
Okay.
content will flow in. Okay. So
Okay.
one more thing I'll ask. Can you tell me the difference between HTTP and HTTPS?
HTTP and HTTPS.
Yeah.
Mm.
You might have seen some websites like google.com or HTTPS. Correct. HTTPS
Yes, yes.
google.com. Correct. So what do you think is the main
This
difference?
is one is like one protocol is there for HTTP.
Correct.
While calling the any website or any web, that time this is the protocol we have to this we are clicking there some API address is inside it now.
Correct.
That is
Sure.
going and ma- first matching that address API address. That time
Got it.
everything whatever you want it's come out.
Got it. Got it, Nikita. So it's not fully right. I'll just give you some differences. So basically, there are a lot of websites like Google.com per se. HTTPS colon Google.com will be there. Correct. There are a lot of other websites which
Mhm.
have just HTTP. There is no HTTPS. So the primary difference between both is security. So HTTPS stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol with security. HTTP basically is not that secure. So should all the websites be HTTPS? No. There could be some websites which just render the blocks and other things. There is no payment involved. There is no video or anything involved. So such websites can just be just HTTPS, HTTP. Okay. Wherever there is a money involved or video streaming is involved, something that is confidential data is involved. Such kind of websites better to have a HTTPS.
Ha,
Correct.
yeah, yeah,
Got
yeah.
it. Sure, sure. Nikita, let me ask you again some basic questions of now HTML, JavaScript like that. Okay. So, there is something called inline styling in CSS. Okay.
Yes.
Inline styling. Can you tell me what is inline styling, Nikita?
When we are using in HTML in tag we are using a style
Correct.
and giving some background color all this thing. So that is called inline CSS.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Perfectly right, Nikita. There is something called external CSS. What is external CSS?
External CSS, we are creating external file for styling and uh, for link in HTML in header tag, we are link there using link and
Correct.
real we are using for stylism and
Correct.
the link of the file name inside the hyperlink inside we paste that file name and then the HTML part is in different file and CSS file is different by using ID class name and mm, by using all ID and class name we are styling in
Correct.
CSS file.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Nikita. Nikita, are you feeling nervous about the interview?
Little bit.
Sure. No, I asked this question. This is mock interview, but even in real interview, such scenarios will happen. Correct. And I
Yes.
personally, a joyful person, I'll try to keep the interviews smileful even when I take real interviews. Also, everyone will not be like that. Okay. So don't be nervous. So it's not an interrogation at the end of the day. Correct? It's just an interview. So it's
Okay.
you know something I might not know. Correct. I know something that you might not know. It's only that if you both are in the same page on that day, like I ask you something that you know. Yeah, that is all the interview, correct? That's a good thing that we can clear the interview. It is not like showing the interviewer's brilliance, correct? So whatever you know,
Yeah.
Nikita, confidently answer. If it is wrong, I'll correct you. If it is right, then I'll
Okay.
appreciate you. Okay, don't be nervous. Okay, now whatever you said is correct. Inline CSS, what you said also correct. External CSS, what you said also correct. Now I have one small question for you. So what if there is a
Okay.
property in the inline CSS also and external CSS also? Which one will you pick? For example,
External.
I'll no, not you pick. Which one will the browser pick is the question. For example, now there is a background color red. You are given for a header tag
Mhm.
or a div. You are given background color red in the inline. You have also given background color red in the external CSS also. So inline CSS also has some style. External CSS also has some style. Okay, for the same background color property. Just to make it little proper question, let's say inline style has a background color red. External CSS has a background color of blue. Okay, both are added to the same element. So which color will it be printed, red or blue?
Inline CSS.
Why?
Uh, the preference of inline CSS is greater than the external file.
Absolutely. Good, Nikita. I think you have studied these concepts very clearly. Correct? Now, I'll ask you little
Yeah.
small exchange to what you said is right. Now, I'll ask you little exchange to the current question only. So now we have a inner HTML, the inline HTML and external HTML. Okay. But due to some reason, you want external HTML to take a preference over the inline HTML. Like you want the background color that is set in the external HTML only, not the inline one. Okay. Because that's it, that class is used everywhere and you want that class only to be taken. In such scenario, how you will give a more priority to the external CSS? Any idea? You got my question, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, can I like okay? Ask again the same
Sure,
question.
sure. So basically,
Now
you
I'm
have a
confused.
sure, no worries. You have an inline CSS. You also have an external CSS. Okay, both having same property. One has background color as red in the inline CSS. External CSS has background color as blue. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
external CSS, which is background color blue, will not be taken. Correct by default because inline CSS has a higher priority. Correct. Now,
Yeah.
external CSS. There is a scenario where external css has to be given more priority than the inline css. Okay, so what you will, how you will make that external css color has to be taken and not the inline css, what you will do?
One important is one tag, or
Correct.
what's it, attribute, or that name important. We give the in last. That will work.
Correct. Absolutely. What you're saying is correct, Nikita. If you use important, then whatever the style that is given in the external CSS will be given as important. So
Yeah.
now I'll ask you a small design kind of a question. Like you are building a big web application, like let's say some 30, 40 or 100 page website. Okay. And
Okay.
will you be extensively using the important in your
Non-stop.
application or
Obviously, there is a lot of research that has gone into making this video. So please like the video and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon if you're not already done so. And add a comment whatever you felt so far. The reason for that, I always say I have a only motto of I want to help to candidate to clear their interview. So if more likes, more comments, video becomes visible for a lot. Whenever it is visible for a lot, there is a high chance I get more subscribers and the followers. Definitely, there is a high chance I would able to reach my cause very soon. Okay, so please like and comment about the video before watching the further.
or not?
Okay, now
Like now
Yes.
you are someone who is an architect, okay, who want to build this application. Will you recommend using important everywhere or not?
No.
Why?
Because this is important is like forcefully we are doing this one. That's why.
Correct. Correct. What you're saying is right, Nikita. So from architectural point of view, also your viewpoint is correct. So whenever you are building a system, you don't have to use important. You can be very wiseful. Correct. And don't use
Yeah.
important kind of. But in case worst case you have ended up in a scenario where you have to get into, only then use the important. It is not recommended way. Okay. Now
Yeah.
let's talk something about the JavaScript. Okay. Can you tell me what are the three different ways of creating variables in JavaScript?
Uh, Three types.
Yeah. How you
Okay.
create a variable in
I
JavaScript?
by using late, const, and var.
Correct.
Uh,
Absolutely right. Any other way other than these three?
con- mm,
I think there is no other way. I also don't know any other way.
Boolean. I think Boolean is the different thing.
I know, but there is basically only three ways of creating variable. Whatever you said is right. Okay, there are no other ways to create variables. Okay, I mean, in a
Okay.
straightforward way, there are only three ways. You already said. Tell me the difference between let, var, and const.
Late, var, and const. Var is a global. We can use every like var is a global, and late is like we if I create initialize one variable using late, we can use one time. Like, one example is there. Can I use example?
Sure, share your screen and open Visual Studio Code if you already have it handy.
Uh, oh, I didn't share my screen.
Okay, let me give you permission to share. Okay, in the middle of the screen, you see a share option. I'm giving you permission. You can share now.
Okay.
Yes.
My screen is visible.
Yes, yes, Nikita, your screen is visible. Please show me the difference between let, var, and const.
Okay.
You don't have to fully explain. You can write a small block and explain. Okay, like not to too much get into because we have to solve other things also. Yeah,
Okay. The for that I can say manually.
sure. Please tell me then. Yeah,
Yeah. Uh,
you can stop sharing. Yeah,
the okay.
tell me then. Yeah, what is bar?
Uh, First, I start with const. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Const. We use const. This is like only one time we can use const.
Correct.
Uh, and another time we are using like const name. Name is a variable. Another time we are the next again we start the late name. That time is it will show error. And using var we can use many times of same variable.
Correct.
And using late we can use 2 3 times, but uh, inside for loop we using for loop na, inside for loop we use late. That time it will work, but again uh, the above of the for loop we using for late, and using inside the for loop that time late variable will not work.
Got it. Got it. So just I'll summarize, Nikita, whatever you are saying. Okay. So first is the
Yeah.
variables created with const keyword. So they cannot be reinitialized. Const x equal to 10,
Yes.
x cannot be reinitialized to 11. Correct. So variable created with let keyword, that is let I, j, and k. I is initialized to 10, and i's can be initialized to 11 or 12 later. That's allowed.
Yeah.
Correct. So but you cannot create
Yes. Yes.
I another time in the same block. Correct.
Yes.
So, but as wherever if you create where x equal to 10, you can make x to 20, 30. You can also create x in the same block. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Sure, sure, Nikita. So there is that's what whatever you're explaining is right. Little bit of a clarity is required. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
one last question I'll ask in JavaScript. Then let's go to problem solving. Tell me what is hoisting in JavaScript? HOISTING. Hoisting. Have you heard
Hosting
the
in
term?
Java.
Yeah.
Listener hosting. Listener hosting. What?
There's a concept called hoisting in JavaScript. Have you heard the concept? No, no worries. So now let us start with the problem solving, Nikita. I'll give you simple problem. If you wish to solve, we can solve in Angular or just with the HTML and CSS and JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript also. So basically, you will have
Okay.
four squares: one, two, three, four. One square, second square, third square, and fourth square. Okay, and they all will have a default background color of white color. Every time whenever
Okay.
you tap on the button, so then the button color changes to the green. So you tapped on one, so white say it become green. You tap on the button four, from white it will become green. So second time if you tap, if it is green, then it should turn white. Basically whatever the color it is, it will turn back to the previous one. White to green, green to white. Every time whenever you click, the flip of the color happens. Am I clear with the question, Nikita?
Hmm. If I click on one box, and then it will going to green. If
Correct.
I click on second box, it will also going to green,
Correct.
like that.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So the two phases here. To just to make it simplify, Nikita, I'll divide the problem into two phases. First phase, four boxes are there, all with white color. Any box you tap, that turns into green color. One, it turns into green. Two, it turns into green. Three, turns into green. Four, turns into green. Are you clear with this? Anywhere you tap, it turns into green basically. Okay. The second part of the
Or
problem, please.
uh, I click on one box. The left three boxes is going to green, or only
No, no.
one box is
Only
going
where you
to.
tap, the color gets changed. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Do
Understood.
one thing. Yeah, I'll not confuse you by saying second part. Finish this first. Okay. Four buttons. Any button that you tap, that turns from white to green. Okay. Implement this. Then
Okay.
I'll tell you the second part of the problem. You have around 15 minutes to solve this. Okay. Get started. Share your
Okay.
screen and get started encoding. I'll interrupt you in middle if I have to suggest you something, or you can keep explaining what you are doing. Okay, in middle whenever you're coding.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Yeah. My screen is visible.
Yes, Nikita. Yes. Please start with coding.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm using same file for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript
Sure.
also.
Sure. Sure.
Uh, okay.
One thing, Nikita, we are almost just
Yeah.
8 minutes away from the completion. Okay, you can stop sharing. So we'll discuss about the overall. Okay, whatever you started is fine. I'll consider so far only. Okay, you can stop sharing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Nikita. Before I give my feedback regarding the interview, tell me if you have any questions. You have any questions regarding?
First question is
Please.
this: why I'm doing this coding?
Yeah.
Why it's not working?
Yeah, why it's not working, you'll be able to figure out. It's not some big mistake. You'll be able to figure out after the interview. Okay. So, Nikita, I'll just pass on my honest feedback towards the entire interview that has happened. Okay. So, few things that I would suggest. It's not just you. Basically, everyone who are just starting with the web, they are doing some course, will be at a similar stage. First thing is the main thing that you all have to focus is on the fundamental concepts. Okay. So, starting from is the fundamental concepts of web doesn't start on building the web like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. No, fundamental part of web starts from the browser. Like how you're gonna make a request, how you're gonna get the data, how you're gonna show the data on the screen, which protocol used, why, when to use which protocol. So these are all very essential part of the web development, not just the development. Correct. So my first observation is you have to focus a little more on those basic concepts, then come to the actual web development. That is point number one. Point number two, it looks very naive, but it's very important to type little fast. Okay, not just you.
Okay.
And as I'm mentioning, anyone who is like you. Why? Because typing will save a lot of time whenever you are solving the something online. Correct. So have a little more than this typing speed so that you can solve a lot of problem. Okay. Third thing that I would suggest is there are a lot of shortcuts that are available in Visual Studio Code whenever you're coding. Okay, you can use multiple cursor, multiple selections, and modify the things quickly. Okay, by using that, the overall time that you take for the coding will reduce. Follow that also, I would suggest. Okay, then coming to the fourth part is how you're going to approach a problem. Correct. See, I said you I can give you a maximum of 15 minutes. So some interview they may give you 30 minutes, they may give you just 10 minutes. So have a plan in your mind regarding the problem. Given this much time, how do I approach this problem and what all I can solve? Correct. So in that particular time, split the milestones. Like first I'll build the UI part done. Second, I'll build at least functionality for one button. Like one button, I'll change the color, I'll do, then I'll extend it to the others. So that whenever the time is elapsed, you have something to show, they're not showing anything. Okay. These are all my honest feedback regarding the overall interview process. Ask me if you have any questions, Nikita.
How I start? Uh, I start right now as a learning all
Got it.
as a front end developer. What is the starting? How I start that my learning process, so
Got it.
I get a good developer.
Yeah, that's what all the things I've already mentioned, Nikita. Start with extreme fundamentals. I've said this multiple times in my other videos in my YouTube channel. Go to developer.mozilla.org. That's the official website for entire web development. Go there and read a lot of concepts from the basics, like why JavaScript, how JavaScript works, why JavaScript is single threaded, how the web loading happens, how the JavaScript code actually executes. So learn all these things in the first before starting the web development itself. Okay, understand how the web works, then start with the web development. Okay, then whatever you're doing is good. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, the coding, all those things are very good. So those you have to extend and make it much faster. So solve so many such small puzzles that I gave you. Right? There are many websites where you can get such puzzles and solve as much as possible so that your coding skill becomes very, very fast. Then learn the concepts of JavaScript. Like one question that I asked was hosting. There are many fundamental concepts of JavaScript, okay, which are not there in any other language. Learn them also. Then you'll be able to face lot
Okay.
of practical interviews. Otherwise, it will be little
Okay.
difficult. So understanding how web works, understanding about the coding that you are doing, correct? The HTML, CSS, and JavaScript,
Yes.
Angular, React. Then understand core concepts of JavaScript, hosting, currying, closures. Then a lot more JavaScript fundamental concepts. Learn all of that. Then you'll be ready for the actual interview, Nikita. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Nice talking to you, Nikita. Have a good day. Okay. Please keep the things that I
Thank you.
said to you and practice in that direction so that you can clear next upcoming interviews. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Nikita. Nice talking to you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day. Bye.